Hi friends, Vicky with Grandma Vicky Crafts. Today we're going to make this cute little Santa Claus gnome. And in front of me I have got the supplies that I use to create this little fellow. So the red, I used a red velveteen material, and the white I used from the Dollar Tree. It's a car cloth, and I cut that and use that for all the white trim. The black is the synthetic leather that I bought at our Dollarama store here where I live. But we can also use black felt, and that might be what I'm going to use for this next one. Let me see. Oh, his little hands I made out of muslin, and we'll sew that, so we will need a sewing machine as well. We have a little pom pom, so we're going to need some pom poms. For his little beard, I bought some fun fur at our fabric store, and I cut out a small piece, and that's going to be what I used for his beard. A comb, of course, to comb his beard. Thread to sew him up. A sewing machine. You might want your little cutter or scissors or both. A marker for marking your material. I will include the pattern in the description. 2 little pipe cleaners to go in his arms so that he can bend his arms. Some polyfill to stuff him. Oh, and what I didn't have on here was a pool noodle. About a 3-inch piece of the bigger pool noodle that goes into his body. And then a piece of gold. You just need a small piece of gold, and that's for his little buckle on his belt. And the boots I made again with this leather material. And his little nose I made. It's just a stretchy fabric that I cut a circle out, and then I gathered the circle together, stuffed it with some fiberfill. But before I did that, I put the wee piece of material, because this is too white, I thought, for his little nose. So I put it in my leftover coffee that I had in my coffee pot, and I dyed it just for a few minutes, just to get it a little bit more skin tone color. So let's get started. So I have all my pieces cut now, and I'm going to be taking them to the sewing machine, and I'll sew them up. And I've also cut some 1-inch white fleece strips to have ready for when we're ready for that. And I've cut my beard. My beard is 3 inches across by 2.5 inches down. And I just wanted to show you the back. I've traced it to go into the shape of a beard, and to cut this you just want to go under and not cut through the beard, because then it won't look right. It'll look choppy. So if you just cut through the smashy part, then you can just pull that away, and it still looks nice on the front. So now that I have all the pieces sewn, I'm ready to start putting our little Santa gnome together. So this was the pool noodle that I forgot to show you at the beginning of the video. And this pool noodle is 3.5 inches long by 3 inches across the top for size. So that's what you need. And then you want to put it inside to make the body of our little Santa. And then we're going to stuff the rest of it, the top, with the Polyfill. Stuff it up right there. And then you're going to take your needle and thread and you're going to stitch this around to close it up. Takes just a few minutes to do this. There. So then you can pull the two pieces together to close it up. And you want to tie that in a knot. And then you want to take it and pull it closed together even more with the leftover thread on your needle. So there we have it. Knot it off. So there's our body. Now, the bottom part of this has got little points on it, and all I did was I just took it and tucked it, and then later I just glued that down and it doesn't show. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of the white fleece and we're going to put this down the middle to form his jacket front. So I'll go now to the glue gun and I'll be back. So now that I've got the white strip glued down, I also decided I'd go ahead and glue his black belt on. So now for the buckle. This is our gold paper, and it is 3/4 by 1 inch, and I've got a 3/4 by 3/4 piece of black felt on that, and I'm just going to glue that on to cover up and show his buckle. Now at the beginning of the video I said I was going to cut his hands out of this muslin. I changed my mind and I am using black felt, and I've made him little hands out of the black felt. I have put a folded pipe cleaner, Chenille stem, in there so that when he's attached, I'll be able to bend his little arm a bit. And then I'm going to put a little stuffing down inside just to make his hand a little puffier. So there we are. Make sure you get it into the little thumb. There. So there's his little mittens. So now we're going to put this up his sleeve. So there, and that should look like that. And then later we'll be putting the white fleece around the cuff. So I'll go and glue his little hands in his sleeves and I'll be back. So here we are with our little mittens on, and I put the little cuff on the little mitten. So now you have to remember to watch for the thumb to go the proper way. Yeah. So I'm just going to tack that down with a straight pin for now, just to hold it there. And that's what he's looking like so far. So we'll carry on now and I'll do the legs and I'll be back. So before I work on the legs, I need to stuff the toe of my boot. So I've just got some more fiber fill and I'm going to stuff his little boot. And then we're also going to stuff his legs. This little guy won't be able to stand up. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've sewn the bottom of this pant leg, and I'm going to stuff the pant leg. You'll need something long to use to stuff it, to get it down the leg. Okay. So now I think I've got his little legs stuffed. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take his leg, place it in his boot, and I'm gonna glue that in there, and then I'm going to put the trim around his boot. So I'll go and finish both of these legs the same way. So here he is. Now I've put his trim on his jacket, and I've got his legs attached to him. I sewed them underneath him there, and I've stuffed his legs and his boots, put the trim on his boots. So now we're ready to put his beard on. So I'm gonna glue that on, and I'm going to glue my arms down up here, and then I'm going to put on his hat. I'm going to put the trim around the bottom here, the white trim all around the bottom, and then I'll put the hat on him and work on his nose, and we're almost finished. Now I wanted to show you how I was doing his little nose. This was the little circle that I had cut out, and I coffee stained it. So now I'm just going in with my needle and thread, going around the top, just gathering it around. The top. And I'm going to stuff it with some stuffing, some Fiberfill, and I'm going to glue it on. So now I've got my Fiberfill here. Just going to stuff that in there. And I'm going to pull it tight, and then I'm going to sew it up. There we have his little nose. So there's his nose. And it's gonna go right about there. Not sure if you can see that. So I'll go and glue his nose on, work on his hat, and I'll be back. So here's our completed little Santa Gnome. He's all done. So now we have two. So that does it. There they are for Christmas. So if you enjoyed this video, please share with your friends and like and subscribe, and I would greatly appreciate that. Thanks for watching. Bye now.